Well, hello and welcome to another AnglingDirect Quick Bite. And today I'm going to talk you through fake baits. So they play a big part in my fishing. They play a part in my all-round fishing as well as carp fishing. But I'm going to talk you through today when would I use them, what rigs I'd use them on, and why would I use them. So let's go straight into the first method, and a really good method to use with plastic corn, and that's got to be solid bags. Now inside this solid PVA bag I've got two little bits of buoyant corn which I've tested at home, and they just waft nicely above the weight of the hook. Now I like to tie a few bags up in preparation, maybe a day or two before I'm going fishing, so I've got them all in my bucket so I can just loop them on and cast them out. But the problem if you use a little yellow wafter or maybe a little boilie in there, the pellets will drag the moisture out of the hook bait and affect the buoyancy. So it might be sitting right when you test it at home, but when it's been in a solid bag for a few days, it will change the buoyancy of the hook bait and affect your presentation. But because it's a plastic bait, the buoyancy doesn't change and you know it's going to be perfect every time. Now the next situation when I reach for the fake baits, as this lake next to me today has got a big head of crayfish in, and if you put a real pop-up out there or a bottom bait, especially in the warmer months, they'll have the hook bait off your rig in no time. So beside me here I've got a selection of different boilies and dumbbells, and they're available in a pop-up version and slow sinking versions. This means they withstand the attention from the crayfish. And another advantage of these, the same as the corn in the PVA bags, if there's lots of silverfish in the lake, they can quite often pull your hook bait off, meaning you haven't got any bait on the rig. So they're crayfish proof and they're silverfish proof. Now when it comes to fake baits, this is my personal favourite. It plays a big part in my tench fishing, but it's also a great bait for all you carp anglers out there. We can't ignore how popular and how effective natural baits are becoming for carp fishing. Us tench anglers have been using them for years. I've personally caught carp over 50 pound by accident using natural fake baits, and probably my favourite of them all, I've got a packet here next to me, and that's the fake casters. Casters are a mega bait, but the problem if you put real casters on your rig, they're not going to last 5 minutes. They're a very fragile bait. So small fish such as roach and skimmer bream would pop them and strip them off the rig in no time. But 2 or 3 of these presented on the right rig is an absolutely mega presentation. If I'm carp fishing, I like to glue 2 or 3 of these to a little tiny bit of foam, and I'll have that on the back of the rig so it just settles on the bottom, wafting above the hook. And I always make a little mesh bag of real casters just to nick on the hook to track them down to that hook bait. As well as the casters, fake maggots are another great bait, carp and tench. As long as you're feeding maggots over the top of them, you trick the fish into picking up those fake baits amongst the natural baits. So casters, maggots, even worms and chopped worms, they're all brilliant attractors of fish, but you need to put something on the hook that isn't going to get stripped off in minutes by the silverfish. So there you go, there's a selection of fake baits that play a part in my own fishing, and maybe that caster rig is a little bit specialised because you want to present those casters as neat as possible. But the other rigs, the solid PVA bag rig and the rigs that you put those fake boilies on, they don't need to be any different to the rigs you use with your normal bait. They've just got different hook baits on them. So one last thing to mention about those fake baits. The situation when you're catching on those fake baits is normally when that bait is camouflaged amongst some real bait. So you get the fish feeding in the swim and they pick those baits up, obviously not realising that they're fake. So they haven't got a huge amount of attraction, but you can change that. You can glug them up. I've got some fake corn and some little yellow dumbbells that have been soaking in some corda goo for probably 6-8 months now. So you can give them a little bit more attraction by putting some liquid on them. They will take on a little bit of liquid and you can add some smell to them. So there you go, there's a quick insight into fake baits, which baits are available and what situation you'd use them in. So all these baits that I've mentioned in the video today, they're available either on our app, on our website, or even better still, pop in your local AnglingDirect and see what baits are available.